And it is now time for me to go to the phone line. Good afternoon.
Hey there, how are you?
Hey there, Devon Harris. How are you?
I am doing outstanding. You?
I am doing outstanding. It is great. We're all in the mood. I'm talking with someone who has a name, and I am feeling good about it. And it's Linkage Radio 101.5 FM. We're situated right here in Lower Westchester County. Would you like to say hello to all the people who are listening to you globally at this time?
Indeed, it's great to be on with you.
Yes, it is. And I know that we have so much to do and so little time. And I'd like you to stay online with me because this is how I'm going to start it off this evening. And you should be all too familiar with this track, Devon.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm in the city here.
Yeah.
And I just so happen to be underneath the subway, so it's a little bit noisy, so forgive me.
Well, you're coming through nice and clear, so.
All right, perfect.
Hold on. And what I can do, Devon, can you just get a quick call back? Just hang up and dial me back.
So hang up and call back.
Yes, okay. And I believe we're good to go.
All right.
Now we're talking.
I'm hearing it better now.
I know. So stay with me.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I'd like to welcome you to the show. It's Inside the Zone. It's Thursday, August 18th. It's the third Thursday feature of the show. Of course, I have lined up with me right now, you heard his voice, Devon Harris. He's an ex-serviceman, member of the first bobsled team in the 1988 Olympic Games in Calgary in Canada, and the founder of the Keep On Pushing Foundation. He's also the author, by the way, of Yes I Can, the story of the Jamaican bobsled team, and motivational speaker. So much. Devon, welcome.
Hey, Dennis, good to be on with you. How are you?
I am good. Are you hearing me nice and clear?
Yeah, I'm hearing you better now than I was before.
Yes. All right, so we are going to start talking because I don't want to miss out on anything with you. It's my pleasure having you on. I met you about 2 years ago at a reading session for children hosted by
in the Bronx.
In the Bronx, hosted by Grace Kennedy Western Union. You know that collaboration.
The children are the future. It's not for me. It's not just a cliche. It's something that I really believe in. So whenever I have an opportunity to interact with or give back to the community, especially to kids, I jump at it. So that's how I got a chance to see.
I endorse that. So do I. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to talk. It's Community Link, and it's center stage this evening, the platform where voices are heard and people connect. Devon, your name spells a lot of things. It says a lot of things when people hear about you, and there are people who perhaps will be saying, now who is Devon Harris? I don't know if I'm to say, fame or fortune, but I do. But I do.
No. But Dennis, I'm just a little you from Waterhouse in Kingston, Jamaica.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Kingston. Spent a little time in St. Elizabeth, so shout out to all the St. Best people. But yeah, I grew up in Kingston, and my late grandmother, who was from St. Elizabeth, she planted a seed in my head that I should be a soldier. Some of these stories of amazing things soldiers could do, and but perhaps the biggest thing that came out of those stories was the idea that you could do things that were difficult or might seem impossible. And that in many ways has impacted my life more than almost anything else. So when I look at many of the things that I've accomplished or attempted in my life, it's kind of with that philosophy. Boy, it's difficult, but it's okay. You can do it.
She certainly passed on something to you, didn't she?
Boy, yes. I mean, more than she knows. She loved me unconditionally, and she planted an amazing, powerful seed in my head.
I can understand that. And, I believe that you've had an illustrious career. You might be too humble to acknowledge. But the fact that you were also in the Jamaica Defense Force, I just want you to just share a little bit of what your experience was like.
Yeah, well, so again, that's kind of started with my granny, and I wanted to join the army join the army, and as I got older, I realized you could actually enlist as an officer.
Right.
I'm like, whoa, if I can do that, but that's what I want to do. So I ended up right after high school, to all the Ardenites who were listening, I attended Arden High School, and right after high school, I enlisted, went through the selection process, and ended up at Sandhurst. The military academy Sandhurst, graduated back in '85, and I served as an officer in the JDF, retired as a captain in 1992. So I had a wonderful time. I love my country, love serving my country, and being in the JDF allowed me to do that for sure.
All right, now let's do something exciting. I can quote 3 years for you: 1988, 1992, and 1998. What comes to mind?
Well, actually, the first two is the JDF. That's exciting.
Yes. I
know you're referring to bobsledding. So yeah, so in 1987, two Americans came up with the idea to start a bobsled. At the time, I was a young lieutenant in the JDF, and my colonel, a guy called Dan Douglas, quote unquote, that I tried out for the team. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up being one of the first members of the team. There were 3 members of the JDF under that team, and we were the first members of the JDF to ever become Olympic athletes. Mm-hmm. And so competed in 1988 in Calgary. That everybody knows about that team, all the cool runnings. And then I was a pusher. I was the number 2 guy on the 4-man sled. Wow. And then I became a driver, and I competed as a driver in 1992 in Albertville, France. Moved to the U.S. right after that and had a 4-year break for sport, and then went back in 1998 as a driver in Japan, Nagano, Japan.
Yes, but it must have been exciting, because here we are in 2016, so caught up, literally, into our Jamaican athletes in Rio. So can you imagine? Yes. Can you imagine you guys going into a sport you had no idea about? We know about pushing handcart and stuff.
Yes, and pushing handcart, that's a joke to us all the time. It's a very dangerous thing, That's why I've never done it. But so I remember the low point of our experience in '80, especially when we crashed. Because we felt we had let down an entire nation. We had disappointed the country, but boy, we're Jamaicans appreciated. They were the best. The response was completely different from what we anticipated it would have been. Mm-hmm. And we thought it would have been otherwise, because Jamaica, as you know, is nurtured an Olympic greatness, and that's what we see on display right now in Rio, with our men and women, our boys and girls, so to speak, down there, cheering up the tracks. And that's what we want to do for our team as well. On our team, yes. To tear up the track.
Of course, they're doing so good. We can't wait to get home this evening.
Yeah, yes, I'm hoping to. I'll be on the road, but I'm going to have to find a TV screen somewhere.
Yeah, of course. Now, this also leads me into and the right to play. Want to share about that?
I'm trying to navigate the roads down here in Manhattan.
That's
so, are you saying about right to play?
Yes. Share about the Right to Play.
Oh, right. Right to Play is an athlete-driven humanitarian organization that uses sports and play to teach skills, health, conflict resolution. Started by Johan Koss, was a Norwegian speed skater.
Okay.
And so, I was fortunate of being out in the field in Sierra Leone a number of years ago, a country that's ravaged by 10 years of civil war and HIV/AIDS. Those kids are orphans, and every day they're dealing basically with adult situations. So our program, they get a chance to become children again and just play, because that's what Olympic athletes are, just big kids. We love ramps, and so we know the power of sports,
yes,
all of us, and so we're able to use that to do some good in society as well.
All right, and we have to start with our young, because we need to be able to leave a legacy for them.
Yeah. As I said, it's not just a cliche. The children are the youth, and so we have to prepare them as best as we can to carry on after our time has passed.
That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, are you just joining me? It's 6:31 p.m. Welcome to the show. It's Community Link and center stage this evening. My guest is Devon Harris. He's the author of Yes, I Can, the story of the Jamaican bobsled team. And by the way, Devon, just in case you forgot, you had autographed my book about 2 years ago. So I'm able to, yeah.
I'm glad I was able to.
Of course. Now, something, I also want to talk about the greats who started it all, because yes, I can. When I think about her, Kinley, Arthur Wint, George Roden, leading up to later years, Merlene and Shelly Ann and Usain and Asaf and all those great athletes who we have today. Yes, I Can, I believe it was written toward, is their target audience? Does it cover?
It was written, it was for younger kids, elementary school age, because, like I said, I spent a lot of time with kids, and I wanted to find a story. It turns out to be our story that I could tell in an entertaining way that encouraged them to believe in themselves, to go after their dreams, no matter how difficult it might seem, or other people might tell them, and
yes.
So I told a story, but you're absolutely right when you think of Jamaica Olympic excellence. It goes right back to the very beginning in 1948. And I jokingly say that I grew up in Olympic Gardens, which means that I guess I'm blessed to be an Olympic athlete.
Of course.
And so, growing up, I wasn't even aware. There's McKinley Crescent, there's Wind Road, there's Roden Crescent.
Yes.
I'm curious. I don't know what the history is and how Olympic Gardens got his name, but I'd be curious to know how that decision was made. But yeah, those guys, set the stage, man. There's nothing more powerful than expectation.
That's right.
And when you create and believe, so when you create that in anything, in anybody, it just grows and grows. And so they took it, they created that, they started it, and subsequent athletes, Donald Forrest and the Merlin athletes and all the others, Dion Hennings and so on, they took it to the next level, and now it's at a height and a peak that's just unbelievable with Usain and Shelly and Asaf and on this current crop of athletes. Elaine Thompson joining them now.
Yes. And
McLeod, all of them.
And we are so appreciative of the fact that you and your team, the Jamaican bobsled team in its entirety, have gone down in history. And I also know that you are a great motivational speaker. Whenever you grace a podium, I'm sure people are in great anticipation to hear what exactly he's going to be sharing with us today. But it is I find phenomenal that we can have people coming out of Jamaica who you hear their names and it's connected. There's connectivity. It's connected to something of brilliance. It's connected to something historic.
No, it's things that movies are made of, you know. Yeah, you know, if you had asked me, you know, 20 years ago about my life, I wouldn't have imagined this. But you know, certainly we have been nurtured, on all of us, on this, on excellence. And we're talking about sports, but if you look in other areas of our culture and our life as Jamaicans, it's there as well. And you know, it seeps in our blood, and some of us kind of take it to heart, and some of us get opportunities that allow us to showcase this side of our country and our nation. And so I was able to, I'm happy that I was able to take advantage of the opportunity to do just that. And so here we are now.
That's right. Once again, it's Devin Harris, author of Yes I Can, and he was on that team, ladies and gentlemen, the bobsled team that did very well. I don't care if you topple over Devon, it tells me that there's nothing that we can't do. So I just want to remember
that's the last couple of lines in my book. You know, when you put your mind to it, there's nothing you can't do.
Exactly. Now, when we talk about the Keep On Pushing Foundation, which you founded in 2006.
Yeah, and so I attended June Avenue Primary School. That's for those who are listening and are familiar with Waterhouse. That's where Waterhouse football plays. And you know, so back in about 0506, I visited the school, and I was speaking to the principal, and he mentioned that I asked him, and the biggest challenge he was having was a lot of kids were coming to school hungry.
Yeah.
And you know, growing up in that environment, I understand how important it was to be educated, you know, and the fact that if you go to school and you're hungry, you can't learn, and if you can't learn, then you're not getting educated, and from that environment, you know, your choices become very limited.
That's true.
And so the children are the future, as I believe. Yeah. You know, I wanted to do something, and so that's how we started supporting the breakfast program. And some school supplies there were some books, bags, pencils, that kind of thing. And that school and about 10 other schools in the whole neighborhood.
Oh man, and I'm sure that is so highly appreciated, because you know, we speak of Jamaica with such pride, but we also know that there are two faces, or even three, that covers the island.
Yeah, you're right, and you know, it's uplifting. It's very encouraging to go to the school and see the kids, and they recognize you, and it's Mr. Devon. I get one of the bag, I get one of the book, and the book, and I said, don't get so much wrong bag, you know, and but it's just really cool. It's again encouraging to see that, you know, something that I'm doing is making a little bit of a difference.
Yes. Credibility is so important, or names ought to mean something when someone hears it, but first it starts with the individual, and I know you agree with that. Here we have athletes in Rio, and so far they have been doing very well. There has not been a headline coming out that would, you know, cause us to feel so embarrassed.
That is true, but you know, I mean, we're brought up that way, right? As I will say back in Jamaica, brought up say. You're expected to conduct yourself in a way that will not bring embarrassment to your parents. All right, you know, what happens when you get home, and at this level, you know, you're not expected to create any harm to the name and reputation of the country, you know. And so athletes have to be commended. I don't think most people really understand how hard they work and how much they sacrifice to do what they do, you know, represent our country.
That's true.
And so they have to be commended. I mean, I lift my hats off to them to be doing, most of them as a training in Jamaica, and to be able to exhibit that level of discipline and work to be able to compete, not just compete, but dominate at the one level is a real indication of what all of us as Jamaicans can do as well.
And we compete with what we have. But my final question to you is, how do you think our track and field program could improve its competency to match the U.S. and other countries?
You know, I think it has probably have to do more with the infrastructure, more training facilities.
Yes.
Those long content that we need. You could argue that we have a few. You have the National Stadium, you have Stadium East, but I think we need more artificial running surfaces.
Yeah.
You need them out west, we need them in the center of the island, we need them out east. We need better weighting facilities, around the country as well. Those things are going to initially make a difference. I think I would love to see the government invest a lot more in GTC Foster and developing those facilities. And my humble view is that we should have had already at least 2 GC Fosters.
I agree with you.
So those are the kind of things that I think would go a long way in help to mine the talent that we have even better.
I agree with you, and the fact that we could have reached the Olympic platform with swimming and gymnastics, and that tells me a lot. I was just having a conversation with my aunt yesterday, and I alluded to the fact that GC Foster College, it was designed for this purpose, but I don't think the vision is really functional at this time. It's kind of
it's not. It's a long way off from what it could be. I mean, a long way off from what I've observed.
All right. Well, Devon Harris, I know you have to go. I know you're a very busy man, but I just want to thank you so much for joining me this evening on Inside the Zone here on Linkage Radio in New York. And I know that, yes, I can. I'm actually profiling it right now on my Facebook Live with all those who are viewing via that medium, and to say keep doing what you're doing, keep spreading the word, keep letting us feel proud, because there are some of us who are trying to catch up, you know what I mean, in our own right. And
yes, indeed. Well, we're all at different stages in our own journey, and like I said, as long as we keep on pushing, we'll be okay. We'll get there eventually.
And I'm hoping that when next I see you, I can ride in the bobsled. How about that?
All right, well, let's see if we can work on that. If you see me in New York City, that won't be
yes, I'm
we're going to have to make up to that.
I know, I'm adventurous enough. But thank you so much. I had a blast talking with you this evening, and I'm sure the audience, they're saying, boy, bobsled, really him? But yes, him.
Yeah, that's what it's me. Yeah, it's me, same one.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes, it was awesome, Dennis. Thanks for having me on, for sure.
All right, bless you. Take it easy. And as we say in Jamaica, walk good.
Yeah, man, you too. Walk good. Take care.
Bye. Devon Harris, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember him? Do you remember how excited we were? We could not believe it that we actually had a team going off to Calgary in Canada to do bobsled. Really? Back in 1988. Amazing. And I met him a few years ago. A really cool guy. You know, that's what I like about people, no matter what level you're at, because we're all climbing the ladder to get there at some point. And he was really just laid back, and we chatted a little bit and did what we had to do with children who we reared, to just read to and let them feel empowered that they too can do something and become something in this world. link. That's what it's designed for. I'm linking here, I'm linking there, and I'm linking everywhere. I'd like to say hi to all those who have it locked with me on Linkage Radio 101.5 FM. You're also streaming live on Facebook. Good evening to my Facebook friends. And you're also streaming live on www.linkageradio.com. I'm your host, Lady D. The show is called Inside the Zone. Today is Community Link, and I just wrapped it up with Evan Harris. It's Center Stage, platform where voices are heard and people connect, and I'll be connecting with someone new next week. You don't want to miss that. So much more to do. The show ends at 8, and I know that Usain Bolt will be running the final of the 200 this evening, and also I believe at 7 o'clock will be the runoff by themselves, that is for the US female 4x1. Was a mishap this morning, and all of us watching and looking and saying, are they deserving of having had this runoff independently? But the catch to that, as you know, is they're going to have to run their lives out. They'll be running alone. There'll be nobody to be chasing. You know what I mean? And their time is going to have to be very, very good. So they're going to bounce off somebody if the time supersedes one that's not up to that level by the time the race ends. Who will get out, we don't know, but we're going to see. How about that? That's a wrap for Community this evening. My guest, Devin Harris.